Hey guys, it's Natalie and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be doing freshman advice for 2020, aka freshman advice for the class of 2024. If you are new to my channel, you wouldn't know that I am a sophomore in high school, so I was just a freshman, and even though my year was cut short, I did learn a lot from my freshman year that I really wanted to pass on to any of you who might be incoming freshmen. So basically, this video is just going to be me giving you my advice, and then at the end of the video, I actually asked on Instagram for anyone who has any advice for incoming freshmen to put it in a question sticker. So some of my friends gave some advice, so I'll be going over that too so that you guys aren't just getting my opinion. If you guys do enjoy the video or it helps you out, make sure to give it a big thumbs up, and if you're new to my channel, make sure to subscribe, and let's just get right into it. So I'm splitting up my advice into categories. So the first category is probably the most important thing about school because it's school, which is academics. First thing I have to say about academics is to take your grades seriously. Freshman year is probably going to be the easiest year of high school for you, so my suggestion is, yeah, you don't need to try and get perfect grades, especially because I know a lot of people don't strive for that. But if you do get really good grades, which guys, it's a lot easier to get good grades in freshman year. If you do get good grades, then that'll help with your GPA. You already start off with a high GPA in the beginning of high school. That's really going to help you later on when you're taking more difficult classes and it's harder to get higher grades. So definitely make sure to take your grades seriously. I feel like a lot of people go into freshman year thinking that freshman year doesn't matter when it does. All years of high school matter. With that being said, my next piece of advice is to not let your grades control your life or be everything. I feel like a lot of people, especially going into high school, just have this like big drive and mindset to like always get straight A's and everything like that. It's great if that's your goal and if that's your thing, but you really don't need to strive for that. Your grades do not define you. A number does not define you. A letter does not define you. Please just remember that. It's so important to stay on top of your grades and try to do the best you possibly can, but please do not let your grades consume your life, because although they're important, they're not everything, and there are greater, more important things in life. The next piece of advice is to respect your teachers. I don't know why, but in middle school or like elementary school, it was like funny or cool to like yell at your teacher or like be mad at your teacher, but it's not. In high school, really no one thinks it's funny. It's not cool. Like, you're in high school, you should be mature enough to know how to respect people, and if you're more respectful and you're just in general a good student, they'll be more likely to help you with your grade. And I don't mean that they're just gonna like boost your grade just because they like you. I mean, I'm sure there's teachers who've done that, but I just mean that if you are generally a really polite and nice student, when maybe you're struggling or want to raise your grade a little bit and you go to them to help, they're going to be more likely to like want to help you and give you everything that you could possibly do to help fix your grade, because they know that you're a hardworking student and that you're polite and they just want to help you. If you're generally mean to them and you're just disrespectful, they're not going to want to help you because they feel like it's not worth it helping you. Always remember that. Okay, so moving on to the next category of advice, which is courses. I don't really hear that many people talking about this, so I thought I would just take a little bit of time to talk about this. So the first piece of advice I have is don't be afraid to speak up and tell someone if a course is too difficult or easy for you. I feel like some people just take courses because everyone else is doing them. Just because most of the people you know are taking an honors class doesn't mean that that's right for you. Once you first start school, if you realize that a course is too difficult for you, or even if it's too easy for you, you're allowed to go to your counselor and tell them that. Either go to a higher level class or go to a lower level class depending on what your situation is. Don't be afraid to speak up, because otherwise you're going to be miserable the whole year, either being in a class that's way too hard for you or way too easy for you, and that's just not fun and it's not helping you in any way. So kind of going on to what I was saying a little bit ago is don't take courses just because everyone else is. You probably already picked your courses, but at least for years to come, just really try to remember during like those course selection times to take courses that you actually want to take, and not just because everyone else is doing them. Especially with electives, I feel like a lot of people don't take electives because their friends aren't going to do it. Don't let anything stop you. Don't not take a course because your friends aren't taking it. Alright, so the next category of advice is extracurriculars. So the first piece of advice I have for you guys about extracurriculars is that if you want to take an extracurricular, just do it. And this goes for anything. Like if you want to do a sport, if you want to join a club, or if you want to do like the school play or anything like that, just do it. Don't be worried about your friends not taking an extracurricular or people judging you or not knowing anyone. So if you want to join a club, or if you want to be in the school play, or if you want to do a sport, don't let anyone stop you. Just do it. Like I said about classes, don't let the fact that your friends aren't doing something stop you from doing something. The next piece of advice I have pertaining to extracurriculars is to not let your extracurriculars affect your grades. Like I said before, grades are very important, and even though it's freshman year, your grades still matter. So if you do take an extracurricular, why is someone honking? There's also kids yelling. I don't know if you guys can hear it, but like, sorry. Like I was saying, you still need to have your main focus on school. Even though extracurriculars are fun and everything like that, you're not required to do them, and the school isn't required to like let you do them. I don't know. Just make sure that you're still focusing on your grades. Also, most of the time at schools, if your grades are low, they won't let you play a sport or do an extracurricular. Don't let it get to that point. If you really love doing a sport, make sure that you keep up with your grades, because otherwise you might not be able to do that extracurricular that you wanted to do. The next category is friends and social life. This is going to be a long one. First piece of advice is to take advantage of the time you have now that you won't have later. Like I said, freshman year is probably going to be your easiest year of high school, which means you're going to have a lot more time because you're not going to have as much of a workload and as much stuff to work on. So you're going to have a lot more time to focus on your friends and your family and just other things that you love doing. So seriously, take advantage of that. You're going to miss it later on in high school. You have so much more time to hang out with friends, do hobbies, or do extracurriculars, and just make the most of the time that you have. The next thing is not really a piece of advice, but it's just school over social life. Of course, your social life is important, but you always need to make sure to prioritize school. School comes first before going to the mall or the movies. Although those things can be really fun if you have a huge project to work on or a huge test to study for. I'm sorry about the kids screaming outside my room. You really need to focus on school and not have your main priority on friends, because I do know a couple people who were always just hanging out with people. Like grades were suffering because of it, and of course it's important to have a social life and like have things to do outside of school, but you definitely, like I said, need to make sure you're prioritizing your grades, but just make sure you have a good balance of it, because I know that for some people, if you're not like hanging out with people or you're not around a lot of people, it can affect your mental health. So just do what is best for you and make sure that you're prioritizing school, but also make sure that you're prioritizing your mental health over like everything. The next little thing that I have to say is that sadly, friends will come and go. The friends you have in freshman year will not be the same friends that you have leaving senior year. The friends that you go into freshman year with might not even be the same friends you leave freshman year with. The next thing is you have to just let things flow and accept when friendships fade or change. I know this is really hard to deal with and accept. It was definitely hard for me to accept this year, but you kind of just have to expect people to change and people to drift, especially if you don't have a lot of classes with some people. It can be really hard to stay in touch with them and continue a good like relationship going. It just happens. Friends will come and go, sadly. The next thing is to remember that people change. Accept that people change and that there's just sadly nothing you can do about it. I mean, high school is definitely a place where people change because it's where everyone is kind of trying to find themselves and figure out who they are. People are just bound to change. You just kind of have to accept it. Also remember that everything happens for a reason. I know that's kind of like cliche, but it's honestly so true, and just try to remember that when anything happens between you and a friend, you will be friends with who you're meant to be friends with. Okay, so the next category is relationships. There's not much I have to say about this, but I still wanted to include some advice on it. So the first little thing I have to say is that if you want to date someone, go for it. You should not be judged for wanting to date people, but you should also not judge people for not wanting to date people. Don't put pressure on people to like look for a significant other or something, because that's not cool. But also, if you know someone who's dating, don't be rude to them or judgmental, because it is your decision whether or not you want to date in high school, and it's not really anyone's business. So do what your heart desires. The next thing I have to say is don't feel bad or left out if you're the only one who doesn't have a significant other, or if you've never dated anyone before, because it really doesn't matter and most people don't care. Also, don't feel bad if you have dated people, your friends haven't. I don't think you should feel bad for not having a significant other or for having a significant other. And if your friends are making you feel bad for either of those things, that's not a good sign. People should just be able to respect each other. So yeah, respect your friends and whatever they do. The next thing that I have to say is don't make out in the middle of the hallways. Please do not make out in the middle of the hallways. Please and thank you. Now, the last thing I have to say about relationships is don't make a relationship your whole life. Honestly, you just need to make sure that you're not prioritizing your relationship over anything. Your mental health and school and like other stuff comes first. Make sure that it's not your whole life and that you have a balance of being able to care for someone else and also make time and care for yourself. That's always the most important. You definitely need to make sure that you're prioritizing your mental health, taking time for yourself and doing self-care because it's really important. So just try not to always constantly be worrying about the other person and make sure you're worrying about yourself too. Okay, I don't know when it stopped, but I was just saying to take time for yourself and just make sure that you are not only worrying about one person. Now it's time for some general advice that I have. Wrote down some random advice and stuff. So the first thing is don't stand in the middle of the hallways because it's annoying and people will literally push you out of the way. I personally wouldn't do that, but some people do. Like, they're not afraid to push you. So just don't do it. It's annoying. If you need to have a conversation with someone, like go to the side of the hallway or like try to find somewhere else where you can like actually talk without being in people's way. Next thing is to try your best to just not care about what people think. This can be really hard, but you really just have to prioritize your opinion about yourself over others. Just really try to block out all those other people, and even if people are saying stuff about you and the things you do, the only opinion that matters about the things that you do, the things that you like, is yours. Your opinion is the only one that matters when it comes to what music you listen to or what food you like. If people are judging you for it, that's not cool, and just try to not let that get to you because I know it can be hard, but especially in high school, some people, not everyone, but some people can be really mean and judgmental, and you just kind of have to learn to like let it go and not let it get to you because honestly it really doesn't matter. The next thing is to be yourself but expect things to change. High school is really where you're just going to find yourself and who you are, so always remember to be yourself and stay true to yourself, but expect your mindset and just different things to change because that's just how it is. You aren't the same now as you were 6 years ago. When you go into high school, you're going to walk out of high school being a different person most likely because that's just what happens. Remember that, but always remember to stay true to yourself. Don't be afraid to speak up when you need to or want to. There is something fishy going on, you need to speak up and say something. Tell a counselor, tell another teacher, any sort of adult in the building that could help you with that. And if nothing happens, at least you will know that you tried. In terms of in person, don't be scared about getting lost on the first day because it's bound to happen. It happens to everyone. Don't think that people are gonna get mad at you. Okay, sorry guys, my camera died, so I had to use my phone. I believe I was talking about getting lost at school, so it happens to everyone, and normally on the first day, or at least like the first day in the building, if you are late, it'll be excused, and don't be scared that someone's gonna like make fun of you or something because it happens to everyone, and it's just bound to happen, especially if you're going to a bigger school and you're not used to it. Just don't worry about anything like that. Next thing to remember is that popularity does not matter. At my school, there's definitely like the popular kids, but popularity literally doesn't matter. No one really cares, and after high school it's not gonna matter, so don't spend your time worrying about popularity, trying to be popular or trying to hang out with the popular kids. I don't even know why some people are just deemed the popular kids. Like, I don't really know. So just don't take it that seriously. The last piece of advice I have fun and don't take things too seriously. It's high school, freshman year, you're just getting there and you're just kind of like getting used to things. But just remember to have fun, especially freshman year, because it's more a chill year like compared to the other years. Just try to make it the best year possible, and for the beginning of the year, just try to make it the best under the circumstances. Yeah, that's the advice I have for you guys. So now I'm going to read off some advice that my friends have for incoming freshmen. The first thing is one of my friends said, always expect the unexpected. You never know when a global pandemic will hit. I think this is something we have all learned this year. You really just gotta expect the unexpected because I don't think any of us expected this stuff to happen. Then one of my friends said, my advice is to not worry about people finding you weird during presentations because everyone else is just as nervous as you. Most of the time, everyone is too busy worrying about their own presentation and how they're gonna do, not even like focused on you. Honestly, from my experience, most people are just like zoned out during presentations or they're not really paying attention. You really don't have to worry about like people judging you or anything. anything like that, because it doesn't really matter and no one's gonna remember it when they go home. Like, they're not gonna just think about your presentation. So like I said in the beginning of the video, I also asked on Instagram if anyone had any advice for incoming freshmen. I'm just gonna go through that right now. My advice to freshmen is to stay organized and make sure you write assignments down. I didn't really talk about this that much, but that is definitely a great tip. You definitely need to be organized and definitely write stuff down. You don't even have to have a planner or like bullet journal. Like, you don't have to do anything fancy. You could just have a notepad where you write down every assignment that you have to do or every test that's coming up. If you don't like to physically write stuff down, you can like write it in the notes in your phone, but just make sure you're keeping track of everything that is coming up and that you have to do. It's really helpful and it'll definitely help you stay organized. As long as you don't mess with any of your classmen, you'll be fine. They'll respect you. This is so true. If you respect other people, they'll respect you back. Try and make new friends. I know everyone says that, but high school gives you a chance to, and that's really true as well. Said, don't worry about not doing something just because your current friends aren't doing it. You'll probably just make new friends from it. Don't take it to heart. It happened to the class of 2023 and it's gonna happen to the class of 2024, and so on and so forth. So that is definitely true. Like I said, you always need to make sure to prioritize your mental health over anything else. Definitely make sure that you're not overworking yourself, and if things get too tough, tell someone, let them know so that people can help you out. So that is it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to give it a big thumbs up, and if you're new to my channel, make sure to subscribe. This is the third video in my little back to school series, so make sure you check out the other two if you haven't already. I'm going to make a playlist on my channel so that you can find all of them easily. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this video, and I hope you have an amazing rest of your day. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye!